Danny Stutsman is leaving for the NFL. Guys, I'm pretty sad here. And I know you're sad as well. Thank you all for tuning in to the PG show where we talk about all things college football. And today we're going to look at what is next for the Oklahoma Sooners at the linebacker position and who Oklahoma might turn to in the wake of the news that Danny Stutsman is going to be declaring for the NFL draft. And I say going to be because we haven't seen the announcement from Danny Stutsman himself. In fact, I saw this first reported by Sooner Scoop over at On3. I saw that they were the first people to report it, and I can't find it here. So we'll just share what On3 said. But we have not seen it from Danny Stutsman yet. So keep that in mind. Danny Stutsman has till January 15th to even rescind going to the draft and to maybe stay at Oklahoma. Although I've been told it was a pretty favorable draft grade for him. Looks about to be second or that third round, probably more so the second is what you're leaning towards. So likely you're going to see a Danny Stutsman depart the Oklahoma Sooners. But make sure you're jumping in the comments, joining the discussion. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button. So Danny Stutsman, this guy became the leader and the life of this team, and you really saw him blossom into the potential that he had here in this 2023 season. And most notably, you saw Danny Stutsman make a name for himself this year, and you saw him have great moments for the Sooners, especially with the pregame speech right before the Texas game. Danny Stutsman was a part of so much for Oklahoma, not only by being the guy on the field that David Agwebu played last year, where he was positioning people. Danny Stutsman took that role. He took the role to be the leader of when somebody had a question of where they were supposed to be, he was going to put them there. Additionally, he took the role of making sure the guys knew what they needed to do every single week to go out there and compete at a high level. And so it's natural to ask yourself who's going to step into that role, because Danny Stutsman not only played the linebacker position, but he played an important role for this team. And so we saw him take on that Boz-esque personality, and he truly just became one of the best linebackers that you've seen Oklahoma have in the most recent while. He's right up there with K9. Now, Danny Stutsman last year, he played 992 snaps. He had 124 total tackles, 70 solos, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions in 2022. He had 5 pass breakups also. Here in 2023, although he got hurt and was out for a game and a half, he had 613 snaps this season. That's what he saw. 99 total tackles, 47 solos, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 2 pass breakups. And you might ask yourself, well, then how did Danny Stutsman improve when his tackles went down, his snaps went down, everything for Danny went down? And it was the smarts. The way that he played the game this year, you saw Danny play more fluid, and he played within himself. And that is something that when you're a linebacker and you're coached by BV, one of the best linebacker coaches in college football, this is what the expectations are for a linebacker coming out of Brent Venables' defense. So yeah, the numbers might have not looked as flashy as last year, but NFL scouts had looked at it and said, Venables took a guy that was kind of lost at times on the field, kind of didn't know what he was doing, a guy that wasn't hitting the film room as much, and he molded him and he shaped him into this good linebacker, a linebacker that can play for a lot of NFL teams. So the question is, how do you replace that talent and what's next? And I'm here to tell you, the linebacker room, it's plentiful and it's still really good, even without your leading tackler returning. So that's good news here. You're going to have Sammy Omosigho. And although you are likely going to see Sammy play at the cheetah position, Sammy's a really good guy. think he was like a top 75 player in the 247 composite rankings. Additionally, you got Justin Harrington also trying to go for that cheetah position. He's going to get that medical red shirt. We all expect him to be back for his 7th year. You've got Desan McCullough at that position. And then you look at a guy like Lewis Carter, who we got him in a top 150 player. That was a guy that was highly coveted. The Georgia Bulldogs wanted that kid. And then you hear all season about how Lewis Carter can lay the boom. One of the stronger guys in that locker room. And then you look at some of the guys that got touches this season, like a Jaren Kanak, who had 559 snaps right there behind Danny Stutsman. Is Jaren going to take that next step, the step that Danny Stutsman took? Then you got Kip Lewis, who had 327 snaps. And let me tell you, Kip Lewis, he got that dog in him. Kip Lewis is a guy that I expect next season to potentially be one of your starters. This year, he had 59 total tackles, 32 solos, 1 fumble recovery. Kip Lewis did an exceptional job. And you go back and you compare that with a guy like Jaren Kanak, who played quite a bit this season. Jaren Kanak had 60 total tackles, 26 solos, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. So compare that to Kip Lewis, who had a significant, I think, almost not half, but almost half of Jaren Kanak snaps. And yet, look at how close their numbers are. Then I look at a guy like Kobe McKenzie. You guys remember how hyped everybody was for Kobe McKenzie coming out of high school? 165 snaps. The hype's still there. Kobe McKenzie's still really good. And you expect that Kobe McKenzie is going to come in the next year, and he's going to try to break through, and he's going to try to secure himself a starting spot alongside Kip Lewis. You got Phil Picciotti here out of the 2023 class. Connor Neer. I think a lot of people are forgetting about Connor Neer, and I think he has another year, but someone will have to fact check me on that. And then I just look at some of the preferred walk-ons and other guys in this class, like a Kyle Carlson or a Cooper Cookson or a Reed DeQuasi, I think that's how you say it, Taylor Heim, Owen Heineke, River Faulkner. Oklahoma's got depth at this position. And although these might not be names you're familiar with now, these are names that you will be familiar with here in the future. Not to mention, you got a guy coming here in this 2024 cycle by the name of James Nesta. And you might be looking to add a couple more guys. I mean, the rumors are out there. Braden Platt reached out to Brent Venables. That line of communication is open. Braden Platt, the 6'2", 240-pound linebacker out of Yelm, Washington, a 247 4-star composite linebacker, 176th in the country, currently committed to Oregon, but Oklahoma was in that final 2. They were in it until the end. And would it be a shock if you saw Brent Venables tried to kick around the tires on a different linebacker like a Peyton Pierce or a Sammy Brown? Now, I don't think that those two are likely, especially since Peyton Pierce just got his in-home visit from Ryan Day. I think you would need to see a turnover on that staff. But I trust BV, and I trust what he is going to do with this linebacker room. They might turn to the portal. They might go to get somebody else. But if they don't, and we are only rolling with the guys that are currently there, I trust that BV is going to develop them. He's going to mold them, not to be a replica of what Danny Stutsman was, because Danny Stutsman was just special. But I think he's going to mold them all to be their own, and they're all going to be really, really good. So, guys, I need to hear from you. I need to hear what y'all's thoughts are. Make sure you're jumping down in the comments, joining the discussion. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe